Summertime. Så du min, og jeg vild med dig. Summertime. Honey, sol.
Hi there, and welcome to your modern shaman, Maria and RainbowLand. This is the weekly forecast, the weekly heartful forecast for the week that starts at the 28th of August and ends at the 5th of September 2018. I'm here in Denmark still, and I'm doing the 7 signs of the week for you guys, Aries. So, how did it go? How did you feel the transition of going from Leo into Virgo? First sign of the week is the Sun in Virgo. Sun is still in Virgo for nearly 3 weeks. They left to go. And for us Aries, it's about our health, our daily routines, and how we eat, how we exercise, and how we treat our body. And also about manifesting, because the grand trine from last week that was going on between Taurus, our second house, of Uranus, Saturn in Capricorn, and the Sun here in Virgo is still clinging. It's not there yet as a grand trine. It's not there now as a grand trine, only as a trine between Saturn and Uranus. But since it's between the different signs, we have these planets that are still supporting each other very much. So remember that. Keep on focusing on what it is that you really want to manifest in this life, in this world. It's a really good time to do so, and be aware of the different ideas that you get. Be aware of which people come into your life, and then feel into. Use your intuition, because we also had the full moon in Pisces last week. That was highlighting, putting to fruition the work you did to support your intuition. Use your intuition when something comes up that is actually showing you a possibility. Because these are times where we can manifest things. Of course, it's with Saturn involved, so there are certain rules we have to follow, and there's a certain tempo. And if you force your body forward too forcefully, without being present in the moment and feeling your body and being alert of the signals from the body, because the body is so intelligent, then it will probably just turn up the volume of whatever itchy thing you have in your system. But use this time, whenever we have the Sun going through a sign, it's a very good idea to take advantage of that we have this energy supporting us. So everything that has to do with Virgo, where you go into the details of things, you consider how to organize things in your life, in your plans, in your daily life. Do it. It's a good idea to go surfing when you have wind in the sails. Then we have sign number 2 of the week. Sign number 2 of the week for us Aries is that Mercury is catching up speed, still moving forward, of course. We just had the retrograde. But can you feel how it's things are easing up? You actually, since it's in our 5th house, and since we've been through a long period here of tests also in the 5th house, can you feel that you start to approach things mentally in a new way, and you're ready to play with the new energies a little more? This week on the 2nd of September, it's out of its cycle. You know, a planet moves forward, like Mercury moves forward throughout a year. It moves whole circle, where it goes retrograde and forward, retrograde, forward, retrograde, forward. So over, not a year, but over a whole, because it's not exactly a year, But over a whole Mercury retrograde cycle, it's gonna go retrograde, or forward cycle is gonna go retrograde 3 times. And we just had one of those 3 times. And you can see when I go forward, I go back and forward over the same little piece. This piece was a piece of our lives in our 5th house, to do with romantic partners, to do with our creativity, to do with our abilities to honestly express ourselves through the heart, having to do with our children, and having to do daring to go out into the world, just as those that we are, and freely express it as if we were adolescent teenagers that aren't afraid of being judged. And there was something in your life that needed to end, either people or animals, and also be the 5th house. Pets had to go, and a new round had to start, or some old patterns between you and either the creative thing, maybe you're an independent and your job, as an independent, your own business, or your children has changed. And can you feel that now you're ready to approach it in a new way, and you are more open to the new way of thinking? If you still feel that you have some reluctance, or something inside of you going against it, I strongly suggest that you open up your mind towards moving forward and peacefully embrace what's there. Try to see it in a positive light, because all of our thoughts are manifestations, especially when the thoughts are connected to the feelings, which they often are. So if you focus upon that this was bad and aren't out of it yet, you're going to keep yourself trapped in a pattern. So it's a super good idea to positively move forward with this. 2nd of September, a new phase, a Mercury phase, starts in our 5th house. So maybe you have new ways of approaching your partner in a loving, romantic way. Maybe you have new ways of accepting that your children have grown, or that the situation concerning children have changed, and you find that it's actually even more fun this way. Or you just like moving forward with your creative project in a super awesome new way. So, sign number 3 of the week. We had number 1, the Sun in Virgo. We had sign number 2, Mercury moving forward in our 5th house. And sign number 3 of the week, Aries, is the moon phases of the week. So as I said in sign number 1, we had the full moon last week in Pisces. And when we have a full moon, it is so that this is a culmination of what happened at the new moon in the same sign. Once a year we have a new moon in Pisces, and half a year later we have a full moon in Pisces. Once a year we have a new moon in Aries, and half a year later a full moon in Aries, and so on and so forth. So we have one new moon and one full moon in each sign throughout the year. And half a year ago there was a new moon in Pisces. And whatever you started in your spiritual world, whatever work you did in your more metaphysic realms, or in your dream world, or planning behind the scene, certain sort of creative music projects, paint, having to do with paint, like my walking art, for example. Whatever effort you've put in throughout the last half year in this field will come to fruition when there's a full moon. So what was made clear for you? I was sitting with 8 women, business women, doing astrology in a tipi, in India, or an American tipi, huge one with 8 women, 8 business women, where I did their horoscopes. And my dream is to build bridge between the scientific world, having a brother who's a math professor, trying to build bridge to him because he's not really, doesn't want to pass the bridge. And make people see that astrology is actually not that weird. Even though I also use the channeling and the intuition. And that went very well because I've prepared so well for this over the last half year. If you didn't prepare well and didn't do your spiritual practice or work, maybe life was giving you a call of perhaps starting, because we need this, especially with Neptune going through our 12th house for quite a few years still. So this week the moon is in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and a little bit in Cancer. And as we start my weeks at Tuesday and goes from Tuesday to Wednesday, so my weeks are 8 weeks. Because they overlap, because the reports are for overseas people as well. It's for the whole world, that's why I do it. Then at the beginning of my week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have the moon in Aries. And in Aries, we start our new moon phase, because we are Aries. And this means, let me check the microphone, yes, it's okay. And this means that we will find ourselves having much more energy, being ready to, just start over new with a new moon phase, moon, with new ideas, new fresh energy, and there's still a lot of light on the moon, because we just had a full moon, so that's energy for us. But of course it's going to square the stuff going on in our 10th house. We have the moon squaring the stuff going on in our 10th house, which means that at the beginning it will meet up with Saturn in a square in our 10th house. So this has something to do with us adjusting to some reality around our career and our face in the world, where we could perhaps feel that we aren't able to move forward as fast as we can, because there are some reality things we need to do in the right order, in the right way, before we can do it, or some authority figure, an older person or something, is not standing in the way, but demanding something of us, perhaps. And then the moon is moving fast, as we know, so this shall pass too, and it will move on, and then it will meet Pluto. And some other themes that you have been having, that has been going on again with something. It triggers something deep within you. It can be again a fear of not being good enough at what you do and your work, or maybe you overcame it, so then you can use this Pluto aspect in a good way. Even though it's a square, we can always use it to overcome something by being conscious. When we consciously look at the world with a conscious heart and a conscious mind, meaning an open heart that doesn't judge, but are in a state of acceptance, and act from there, not just react, because us Aries, we have a tendency of reacting, then we will move much faster forward. So if anything seems to stand in your way, don't fear it. Just know in your heart that it will pass as well. Know in your heart that if you stay in an open heart space and don't let your mind wander to places where you imagine or feel things that you actually don't want to manifest, and don't. The moon will move in to a square with our own planet as well, just before it enters Taurus. So this again can create some tension between our identity and what we want in the world. This feeling of not being able to move forward before we let go of something. Our planet is moving very close to the death degree between Capricorn, the 0 point between Capricorn and Aquarius. It will then square, move into Taurus and conjunct, first it will square Black Moon Lilith, it will conjunct Uranus, and then it will square both of the nodes. So it's not going to be a boring week as we go through Monday to Thursday, then into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, through Taurus. And then Gemini. In Taurus, of course, when it touches Uranus, it also forms, it also activates this trine between Saturn and Uranus, and whatever issue you had earlier in the week will now perhaps have a sudden solution to a problem, or a sudden realization that makes you go, okay, a sudden upgrade of your mental hard disk, perhaps. And then it will move on and go into the square with the nodes, so you will perhaps again be reminded of some of the stuff within you, some of the things you want to manifest in your life, that you now hopefully see in a new light. It moves on into Gemini, and in Gemini it's going to be in a square with the Sun, and it will also be in a square with Neptune. This will just activate stuff going on in our spiritual world, calling for us, as well as again the things that we are manifesting, and reminding us to keep a healthy lifestyle and to do the things that we are trying to promise ourselves to do in order to treat our bodies as temples. It ends up down there in Cancer in an opposition to Saturn, where you will feel like your home life and your personal life needs your attention for you to nurture yourself and your inner child. But perhaps Saturn is calling for you to do some responsible work. Our sign number 3 of the week, the Moon. Sign number 4 of this week, Aries, is Venus. Venus is in Libra, where she loves to be. She has come as far as to, at the end of the week, go into a square with Mars. Last week she was squaring Pluto, and anything to do with Venus, in this case especially for you guys, is having something to do with relationships. This is us finding new ways of acting and not reacting again. Now we have Mars involved. So in your business relationships, perhaps with your business partners, if they are too late with something, if they do something, say something where they don't agree with you, if you, in some way in your relationships, feel like you and your partner is on different pages, you know, you could turn the other cheek. I've experienced, even though I'm also a little bit of a warrior, a lot, fighting for love, but sometimes also as an Aries we can get angry. We are good again fast, but I have really learned that to let go, having Neptune in our 12th house, is something we can really accomplish something from and benefit from. Because through the will, we rarely accomplish anything in a natural, peaceful way. So often it doesn't really give any benefit to just go into these fights or whatever, even inside of yourself, if you don't say them out loud. Stop having these mental inquiries about, he could have done, or she could have said, or they could also have, or they're not doing the best job at my work, they're just a little bit annoying, why can't they, or why don't they? And this is draining your energy. It's a better idea to forgive fast, and thereby become a better business partner, marital partner, whatever kind of partner. You know, it's little things. As long as we have love, it is small things, and we tend to get angry about them, but it just doesn't pay off. It just doesn't. Honestly. You know what I mean? Sign number 6 of the week is Mars. And Mars is moving forward finally in Capricorn. This is our planet. Oh man, I'm filming this 2 days before, and suddenly I feel how it's like stagnated. You can think 2 days back. Certainly also feel that the moon is in Pisces because it's just raining, raining, raining. But I'm stubborn, I want to stay outside. So again, if you haven't been having as much energy, but at the same time been feeling how the planet Mars has actually been strong and stronger. I mean, in retrograde, in traditional astrology, they actually get stronger as they're retrograding, 3 times stronger. Meaning that you can be even more itchy, you can be even more aggressive, you can be... But at the same time, as it's stopping, and I said that it was... Last week I said it would be retrograde almost all week, is because it's slowing down so much. And now it's finally moving forward in Capricorn, which is where it's in exaltation. And this means that it feels good. It feels nice for Mars to move forward again. It gets its spirit and its hope back, and feel like, yeah, we can do this. But at the same time, we have to remember that it is in the critical degrees. So this means, because any sign, the last degrees of any sign are the critical degrees, and especially here. Also, especially because we had a retrograde, because we had so much things going on, so many things going on, and also because it's going to come closer to the square to Uranus. And this means, of course, that the theme that was brought up 2 times over the summer, starting in the 2nd week of May, and was there again, is going to come closer and closer. It was there in July, August, and it was going to come closer and closer. It was something where something had to end and suddenly changed. And this is a good thing that it's the 3rd and final pass, because now we can see it in a new light, but it's going to come closer to this, and it's going over the absolute critical point, which is called the death point, between the 0 degrees, the 30 degrees of Capricorn, 0 degrees of Aquarius. So we're used to it now, right? So if you're afraid of riding that wild roller coaster, it's just first time, then you overcome the fear. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th time you're riding it, is, oh yeah, I'm used to this being crazy wild, and probably we are also used to being a little bit under pressure right now, because the pressure is going to come up again. But in a good way, because it's in a good sign. It's in a sign where it likes to be, so you can work and you can move forward with the ambitious projects that you have. So that is really nice, and you can excel in these areas. Remembering that, of course, we have the help from Saturn if we take one step at a time. If we take things one step at a time, because that is in a trine to Uranus. So the weather's teaching me quite a lot. I'm going back and forth. This is sign number 6 of the week. Sign number 6 of the week is the tarot card, and I had to draw it inside. I think I'll do that for all of them, because out here things are getting quite wet. I don't know if you can hear and sense, but it's raining off and on. And Maria, she's a nature child. She wants to stay out in nature. So basically, we got the 7 of coins, 7 of pentacles. This is a card that's telling you to have patience. It's a very appropriate card, because it's about to wait for the harvest to be ready to be done. It's about that you can never force a flower to open, you can never force a seed to grow. You have to wait until it comes. And this is so significant for us, because we had so much going on in Leo, and we still have Mercury there. And we still feel the repercussions of the 2 of the eclipses which were in Leo. And in Leo we start all the things that we harvest in Virgo. So this card is actually just a sign of what has been going on in there in Leo and all the different beautiful things that we started, that we have to have patience in order to be able to harvest later on. Then we have the 7th sign of the week. And this is, for me, the most important. I put it at the end because people want the astrology first. But the 7th sign of this week is, and has something to do with, you have to remember that you manifest what you think of. What you think of, you often feel. And that means that your whole energy is set on manifesting this. That's why I connect manifestation this week with truth. Telling the truth, speaking the truth, being the truth. I will, in all reports from now on, have this aspect here, because we need to be reminded all the time to be aware, to raise our awareness so that we choose our thoughts. We choose our feelings. We do. We can turn. We are a vehicle that doesn't have to go in a certain direction. Even though, of course, when the horoscopes tells us to go inside the darkness, of course, we have to clean up. But as long as you're aware of you're in a cleaning process, you don't manifest in the same way. If you go into the feeling of everything being dark, but every now and then withdraw and think, I know it's a cleanup process, I let it go, I release. I surrender this thing. And I believe that I'm going to be over this on the other side. That's why we can use astrology when we have times like this summer. You saw me, I did reports while I was in a hole with having several deaths and someone going there. Speaking the truth. Do you say what you feel? I'm not saying rudely. But do you remember to be your own truth in your life? Because this paradigm is never going to shift. The world as we see it right now is never going to move if you know things and you keep quiet. I mean, in the dark Middle Age, which was the last time we had certain constellations we're going to have in 2020, moving closer to, you would get hanged or whatever you would, burned on a fire, to talk about things that the paradigm didn't allow. But this is not happening now. So do you dare to be one of the brave ones that just in your own relationships allow yourself to be your truth? You don't have to shout it, you don't have to get into an argument, you don't have to, but you allow yourself to try to test this, because if we start talking the truth, all of us, and trying to see and feel behind the truth, because, for example, take a look at the media. How much of what they say do you think is true? We are in a society where we are trained in school to learn how to manipulate in the business schools. How can I say something which is not true to make someone buy my product? How can I say something which is not true to make someone vote for me? Buying a product is actually the same as voting for whatever this project stands for. This is how this world is built. If we want to evolve, first of all, we need to be true to ourselves, and we need to show this to our children. And it's like little rings of water. Stone in the water where the rings spread. If you start telling the truth, I mean, use your intuition, do it when it feels right, then others will do the same, and maybe we can get some truth on the table. Maybe people won't accept that we always vote for politicians which are hired to lie in certain ways. Media, Thank you.
Easy sliding down on me. You are now in my arms forever, all the way eternity. Set you free to be loved, my Summertime, så du er min, og jeg er vild